The audience inside Kelly Clarkson's brightly lit studio was buzzing long before the cameras started rolling. Whispers, excited chatter, and the rustling of cue cards filled the air. It wasn't every day that Meghan Markle agreed to appear on daytime television, especially after months of silence, rumors, and media storms. Everyone expected a polite conversation, maybe even a cheerful interview. No one imagined the chaos that was about to unfold. Kelly Clarkson, warm and charismatic as always, stood backstage taking a final sip of herbal tea. She handed the cup to a crew member and checked her microphone. "Let's keep it light," she reminded her producer. "No ambush, no traps, just a good conversation." But even she didn't know how quickly things would spiral out of control. The theme music played. The audience cheered. Lights flooded the stage. "Please welcome Meghan Markle." Meghan walked out wearing a soft cream-colored suit, her posture straight, her smile polite but slightly guarded. Cameras flashed. She waved to the audience before taking her seat across from Kelly. At first, everything seemed calm. "Kelly, Meghan, it's great to finally have you here." "Meghan, thank you, Kelly. I'm happy to be here." The conversation began smoothly, touching on Meghan's new projects, her children, and her charity work. The audience listened closely. Some nodded, others whispered to friends. Meghan looked relieved, almost comfortable. But then Kelly gently pivoted. "Kelly, there's been a lot of talk recently, especially about some statements you made in previous interviews. Some people felt misunderstood, and some felt hurt. Do you feel you've been misrepresented?" The shift in Meghan's expression was immediate. Her shoulders tensed. Her smile faltered. "Meghan, Kelly, with all due respect, I didn't come here to revisit old narratives." The audience murmured. Kelly flashed a calming smile. "I understand. Really, I do. But a lot of viewers want clarity. You've said in the past that your words were taken out of context. Maybe today, we can shed some light." Meghan's jaw tightened. "I think the world has heard enough from everyone but me. And every time I try to speak, someone twists it." Her voice trembled slightly, not with sadness, but with building frustration. Kelly raised both hands gently. "I promise you, there's no intention of twisting anything here. We're just having a conversation." But Meghan leaned forward, eyes sharp. A conversation? Or an interrogation? Because that didn't sound like a neutral question. The tension hit the room like a cold wave. Some audience members exchanged wide-eyed looks. A producer from the side signaled Kelly to move on. Kelly tried. "Okay, let's talk about something lighter then, your upcoming book." But Meghan didn't let it go. "You invited me here under the impression that this would be supportive," she said, her voice growing louder. "Not another platform to dissect my life." Kelly blinked, stunned. "Meghan, I'm not dissecting anything. I'm doing my job. You're a public figure, people are naturally curious. And that gives them the right to judge every breath I take." Meghan shot back. The audience gasped. The cameras kept rolling. Kelly's team scrambled behind the scenes, whispering frantically. Kelly leaned in, her voice soft. "Look, I'm not your enemy. I've been judged too. I get it." But Meghan shook her head. "No, you don't. You still have control over your narrative." "I never did." Kelly frowned slightly. "Everyone faces challenges, Meghan. You're not the only one." That was the spark. Meghan inhaled sharply, as if the word stung. "So you're minimizing my experience now?" "Not at all," Kelly replied calmly. "But you can't expect the world to stop asking questions. That's part of being in the spotlight." Meghan stood up abruptly. The audience froze. Kelly's eyes widened. "Maybe I shouldn't have come," Meghan said, her voice trembling with anger. Because clearly, this wasn't about understanding. It was about confrontation. Kelly rose slowly as well, trying to de-escalate. "Meghan, please sit. We're live. Let's take a breather." But Meghan lifted her hand. "No, I'm done." A security coordinator stepped closer to the edge of the set, unsure whether he'd be needed. The audience watched, breathless. Kelly sighed deeply. "If you walk off, Meghan, it'll only create more drama." Meghan's eyes flashed. "Drama follows me whether I speak or stay silent. This right here, is exactly why I avoid interviews." And then Kelly said something she didn't intend to sound harsh, but it did. "Maybe the problem isn't the interviews." Meghan froze. The room went dead silent. Her lips tightened. "So now you're blaming me." Kelly opened her mouth, but the words didn't come. She hadn't meant it that way. She knew it. The crew knew it. But Meghan didn't see it that way. Get your team, Meghan said sharply. I'm leaving. A producer hurried forward. Ms. Markle, we can cut to commercial. It's fine. No, Meghan snapped. I'm not sitting back down. I'm done. Security approached discreetly, not to remove her, but to escort her off safely. The headlines were being born right there, in front of hundreds of eyes. Meghan Markle walked off the set. Kelly Clarkson stood speechless. And the audience didn't know whether to clap, gasp, or sit frozen. The cameras cut to an emergency commercial break. But the chaos backstage was only just beginning. Backstage was a storm of voices, running footsteps, and confused producers trying to put out fires that had already spread too far. Assistants whispered urgently into headsets. Camera operators rushed to reposition for whatever happened next. No one had expected the calm daytime interview to explode into a national spectacle. Meghan's heels clicked sharply against the polished hallway floor as she walked away from the stage, her breathing uneven. A staff member jogged after her, trying to keep pace. Ms. Markle, please, just a moment. Meghan didn't slow down. I said I'm leaving. Meanwhile, Kelly Clarkson stood frozen on the stage while the commercial break played for the viewers at home. Her heart pounded. She had been in tense interviews before, but nothing like this. She stared at the floor for a moment, gathering herself. The audience sat in stunned silence, whispering among themselves. Her producer ran up to her. Kelly, we need to decide quickly. We're back live in 90 seconds. Kelly blinked, finally snapping out of her daze. What do you mean? Meghan is already halfway to the exit. That's the problem, the producer said breathlessly. The network wants you to address it. If you say nothing, it'll look like the show mishandled the situation. Kelly exhaled slowly. Did we? The producer hesitated. No, but it's going to look messy no matter what we do. Kelly rubbed her forehead. She had tried to keep the conversation gentle, avoid sensationalism, stay away from traps. But she could feel the blame forming already, online, in the press, everywhere. She straightened her shoulders. All right, I'll handle it. Back in the hallway, Meghan was nearly at the side exit when a familiar voice called after her. Meghan, wait. It was Kelly, breathless from rushing. Meghan stopped but didn't turn around. Her back was rigid, her hands trembling slightly. Kelly approached slowly. You didn't give me a chance to explain. There's nothing to explain, Meghan said coldly. You wanted a moment for ratings. You got it. Kelly's eyebrows lifted in shock. That's not fair. You know me better than that. Meghan finally turned to face her. Her eyes were glossy with controlled anger. Do I? Because from where I stood, you cornered me. I asked questions, Kelly said gently. That's literally my job. Meghan shook her head. Not those kinds of questions. Not like that. Kelly took a breath. I wasn't attacking you. Meghan's voice cracked. It felt like everyone else all over again. For a brief moment, Kelly's expression softened. She suddenly understood, this wasn't just about today. It was about years of pressure, criticism, and headlines Meghan couldn't escape from. But empathy didn't erase the fact they were live on national television in less than a minute. Meghan, Kelly said quietly, I know you're hurting. Truly, I do. But running out like this, it's only going to make things worse for both of us. Meghan looked down. I don't care anymore. Kelly's voice lowered even further. You will. Tomorrow. Next week. When the headlines twist this. For the first time since storming off, Meghan's anger flickered into uncertainty. Inside the studio, the audience was being counted down. Back in 10, 9, 8. Kelly gently touched Meghan's arm. Come back for 2 minutes. Not for me. For you. Let's clear this the right way. Meghan hesitated. The floor manager's voice echoed. 3, 2, 1. The red light above the main camera turned on. Kelly stepped back on stage alone. The audience quieted instantly. Kelly took a steady breath and spoke directly into the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, as you saw, things got a little intense. A nervous laugh rippled through the crowd. Kelly raised a calming hand. I want to say something clearly. Meghan Markle is not our enemy. She's a guest. And she's someone who deserves respect, just like anyone who sits in that chair. Backstage, Meghan froze mid-step. She hadn't expected that. Kelly continued. Sometimes interviews go differently than planned. Sometimes emotions run high. And that's okay. We're all human. Meghan's eyes softened. Kelly looked toward the side of the stage. If Meghan is willing, I'd love to finish this conversation with kindness and clarity. The door is open. The camera lingered, waiting. The audience held their breath. Meghan stood just out of frame, trembling. She felt hundreds of unseen eyes watching, waiting, judging. Her fight or flight was still active, but Kelly's words struck deeply. A stagehand whispered, "If you want to go back on, now's the moment." Meghan exhaled slowly. Then, she stepped onto the stage. The audience erupted into applause, soft, encouraging, welcoming. Kelly smiled warmly. "Thank you for coming back." Meghan swallowed hard and sat down. "I may have overreacted." Kelly shook her head. "No blame here. Let's just talk." And for the first time since the drama began, Meghan relaxed. Just a little. But the world outside, the reporters, the social media storm, the headlines waiting to explode, was already sharpening its claws. The real fallout was still on its way.